Hello guys, it's Randall with BitRaged. So I wanted to do an update for you guys here for Bitcoin. Obviously, we had this big push today, $600, and so I wanted to address some questions in regards to that. There are several questions. First of all, people are asking, is it manipulation or is this natural movement? And is there any possible way we could have got in on this movement to know that it was a valid move to buy into? So first of all, let me address the manipulation thing. The wash trading hasn't stopped. There's still manipulation happening in the market. That hasn't stopped. That being said, there was definitely something behind this movement besides that, because the wash trading has been going on throughout this movement. So we looked this over, and there's several things that could be behind this. So first of all, we have the announcement of the ETF, the possibility of it being approved for Bitcoin, which seems to have quite a bit of bullish potential, I think more than I was anticipating, simply because I'm a little skeptical of it actually being approved. That could be part of the reason behind this, even though it isn't approved, it's in anticipation of it. The news is suddenly turning bullish. If you look up Bitcoin right now, there's a lot of bullishness in the news. So that seems to be something that possibly could be spurring on more of an impulsive movement up. The question though, is it something that was identified in the chart, or is it just something that went without us? So let's address that quickly here. First of all, I want to mention in our live stream and also in our previous video on Bitcoin, we mentioned that we're in a descending channel, and descending channels will break to the upside. Within this descending channel, we are also within a descending channel. So a descending channel within a descending channel, which increases that probability. So that was always a possibility. It's something we had mentioned. The reason why it wasn't the most likely potential at this time is because we have a correction to move to the downside, and within that, or coming out of that, we have a larger correction. So a big bear flag, which naturally we would expect to be a sell. That's just how it works. There's a couple things here to consider and a couple moves to consider. First of all, we have this trend line, which was broken impulsively, and we've said that it doesn't matter how a trend line breaks. I mean, it doesn't matter if a trend line breaks, but how it breaks. This broke impulsively. So on the impulsive break of this trend line, if you were able to, if you'd noticed it, you could have definitely placed a valid entry. That would be a totally valid entry because it's an impulsive break through a trend line. It wasn't just a correction, it was an impulsive move. And so if you were able, you could have got in on that. That would have been a great opportunity. However, that being said, we are still within this bearish flag. We're still within this flag pattern, which still could move to the downside. So we have to consider all possibilities. If we do see that movement to the downside, if it's a corrective move like that, coming out of a bullish impulse, this still could be a buy. It still could move the upside, and we would just be looking for that impulse to confirm that. However, any movement within this flag still validates the flag. So if it retraces or corrects to the bottom, we still could be looking for that sell. And that still could happen. So we have to be open to that possibility. A couple things to look for as this corrects, because it is correcting right now, and we don't have enough information on the correction to determine the most likely scenario, but it's just kind of moving in a sideways formation. If it corrects to the downside, that would be a very good signal for the bulls. It would indicate a bear flag to move to the upside. It's the kind of correction you want to see. When we see moves like this, Bitcoin is often sloppy in the flags, so don't expect it to be a perfect flag. It might be more of a sideways movement, just kind of moving to the sideways. And it still could be a buy, and you just buy that impulse. However, you have to be open to the possibility that it will just sell. And even if the flag isn't perfect, it will sell and be ready to enter on an impulse to the downside. So I guess my point is that if the flag isn't pretty or playing out perfectly, it still could move impulsively. Something to look for is if we get a more upwards movement like this, kind of following the trend line, it could move for several days. That is a possibility. I'm anticipating probably more impulsive movement just because we're finally back into the 7,000 range, and I think it's going to encourage people to FOMO in, to buy in. So I'm assuming that we'll get another impulse based on that, not looking at the chart, but just based on the news. But if we were to get that upward moving, ascending movement along the trend line, and it doesn't break the trend line impulsively up, we would be looking at the possibility for that to sell as well. So these are possibilities. It's not saying anything could happen, because anything can't happen. There's only two possibilities: a buy or a sell. What we're looking at is not the possibilities, because we know there's only two, but to understand the confirmation of each of the possibilities. So I think I've laid them out for you, but essentially you're looking for the flag pattern to develop. If suddenly we get an impulse out of here, like without it fully forming, and you're able, buy in on an impulse. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that says you have to wait for it to fully develop. The only risk that you're taking is the possibility of a retracement. So that's always a possibility, just something to consider. It's always best if you can get in on the lower end of an impulse, and if it retraces on you, you can sell out. That's pretty much what we're looking at for Bitcoin. We are still in this bearish flag pattern. In Forex, these play out extremely high. So there's always the possibility this still will play out. It's something you have to still consider. Get rid of that because we went through that. So don't eliminate any possibilities and be open to all of them. But in the short term, we are now looking at more of a bullish potential than we have had it previously, simply because this could continue. If it does not, we will be looking at more downside. Even if it does continue, we are looking at the possibility of a reversal at 8,000, and then a reversal at 10,000 is still a possibility. That would not be off the cards, obviously, until we break through those areas bullishly. So those are areas to look at. Those are things to consider. I hope this was helpful and answered some of your questions. I do believe that we will be seeing this play out more clearly over the next couple of days. So I think the direction of the market over the next couple of days and weeks is going to become much clearer, and we will be able to identify it more clearly. If this is a break to the upside that has a lot more potential in it, it is going to develop a new pattern, a new structure, because we will be breaking out of this structure here. So something to consider. This could be the beginning of that, and if it is, that would be looking like an ascending channel, and we just have to watch and see if that happens. So some things to consider. If you still have questions or comments, drop them below and let us know. We will get to them and answer them as soon as possible. We are going to be launching a Discord or Slack group. We're talking about it. There's probably leaning Discord right now, but we will be launching that soon for you guys to pop in and ask questions, drop your charts, look at our charts, and just kind of bounce off each other. It'll allow us to be more connected with you guys throughout the day, even in between videos. So that is something we're definitely looking forward to. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have not already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and if you're new here, go ahead and watch our previous videos, as they will lay some groundwork for what we shared in this video. Thanks so much, guys, and have a great evening.